and prophesy who will win Champions League matches. That's the power of prophets in our time.
Charlie, the full video is tapping.
Today, the prophetic ministry has been made worthless because prophets today prophesy elections and prophesy who will win Champions League matches. That's the power of prophets in our time. Meanwhile, the prophets of old were able to see the corporate personas of nations as they stood before God and what was needed to influence, to tip the scales so that the pendulum of grace can shift in the direction of the policies of heaven. Yes, I prophesied it, and that is the prophetic office. If I say something, you fight me. That's why I will not say it. In my sojourning, as I sojourn as a preacher all over the world, I'm not sure I've seen more than 9 prophets in this whole world. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Real prophets that can see into the nature of the nation and speak from that standpoint. No, I've not seen more than 9. Prophets that can enter into territories and tell you the warfare that is going on and the reason why demons are fighting. There is something much more than your politics that is responsible for the fight. The cosmic war is triggered by something deeper, purposes more salient. I went to a certain nation and we were doing a ministers conference. There were 2,000. We had more than, okay, the auditorium we were using had 2,000 seats and all of them were filled up. So they changed some of the accommodations in the place to overflows, and then when they couldn't hold any more people, they started turning the rest of the people back. So it was a place for pastors. Are you following? And we had 2,000 of them at least in that auditorium. Do you know how many of them bore prophet? You know that it's a cliche now. It's a cliche. I was listening to someone boasting that he's, everything about him is prophetic. If you look at that individual critically, he is operating by divination. He has not met the Lord. I don't even believe he's born again. Because from the part of Nigeria that I come from, that's where the diviners are. Do you understand what I'm talking about? You can't, let's forget it. Sometimes I forget I'm in America. That's where the diviners, they are spirits. They are spirits from my tribe that people go to collect. And when you collect those spirits, you can tell someone's genealogy, the name of your mother, the name of her mother, the name of her own mother, the name of her, you can say that. You can say that. But those people can say things that are known. They cannot say things that are in God's economy. So if he says he's a prophet, why can't he download something from the mind of God? That's how we know you are a prophet. Not that you can give what is already known. The person's phone number is already known. The person's name is already known. So our estimation of who a prophet is in our time has been reduced because we don't know who a prophet, what he's supposed to do. This is a man that can scan nations as a corporate persona. He can also scan people. He can scan you and touch the purpose of God for your life. That's how you know a prophet. Nations are supposed to be trained and mentored by other nations. Smaller nations were supposed to be trained and mentored by other nations that have an understanding of their identity as a corporate persona. Part of what Satan will do to a nation is that it will strip that nation of its identity, and he can do that by causing war. When everybody becomes a refugee, they are thinking of survival. Nobody is thinking of the purpose of, you know what I'm talking about. Violence. At some point, when Satan begins to fight for the soul of a nation, you now discover that some of the most interesting and important people that will emerge are intercessors. They are God's warriors, agencies that God uses to fight for more than generations, but for essence, for purpose that resides among the people. I used to be apolitical. I don't want to know what's happening in the political landscape of things, but I could no longer continue in my primitive ways when I discover how politics shapes nations. In fact, I now discover that nations, the leaders that mount the saddle of responsibility in terms of governance is reflective of that nation's reality for that season. If the person got there by national kidnap, I know you don't know what that means. And may you not know what it means in America. Because in Africa, there are men that have kidnapped nations. And they have kept nations in custody to their will. All right? When you see that kind of arrangement, it means that the nation, even though it has a desire, it is being hijacked by a political system. And that hijack is an act of castration. You know what it means to castrate? So that the nation no longer has the impetus to be able to fulfill what it is galvanized by the grace of God to achieve. So it is not, are you with me? So there are nations that are captive by the political systems that govern them. So I had to begin to study politics, trends, patterns, even though I didn't want that. But the time came when I could not but resort to that, and I had to let go of my primitive ways in order for me to see the patterns of governance that shape nations and how the purposes of God can find expression within the crucible of the bondages that political leadership has placed on the potential of many territories. I say this as an expert that has monitored one of the most foremost mineral resources that drives the economy of nations, and I was in the active place of data gathering. If those figures that we gathered meant anything, it means that the nations that we oversaw as technocrats, as scientists, as agents of government to ascertain our current economic capacity and how it impacts the landscape. I can tell you that in the eyes of the statistics that we're gathering, we were the richest nation in Africa. But on ground, at that time, we were the second poorest nation. Okay, so you understand what I'm talking about. Well, may the Lord give you understanding. May the Lord give. Now, so that's the reason why I was under pressure to begin to study politics.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Yeah, then. Yeah,